So hello and welcome to the Dharma.life podcast. I am your host, Aloise.life Middleton, creator of the Dharma.life Academy and host of the Dharma.life podcast. And finally, I have got my dear past life friend, 6 lifetimes we've had together, on the show today. JCKay, welcome to the Dharma.life podcast.
Yay, I'm so glad I'm here, Eloise. I know, I'm so sorry I rescheduled like back in October. That was a busy week. So I'm just glad I'm here. And you know what? Everything happens in the right time. That's all
absolutely.
I think.
Oh, don't worry. It's just when I first discovered you, I just felt that we knew each other. Like I could just feel that connection. And I love your vibe and what you stand for. And I just like, she needs to come and talk on my podcast.
I know, and I saw you, I think before I even had a YouTube channel. I'm very sure of it. I've watched you a couple of times before and I thought, I really like her. And then, so I knew exactly who you were. So when you asked me, I knew exactly who you were. And, and I remember, I think we just missed each other on the election day.
Yes, I remember
with Charlie, because I was on for ages. I was on for like 3 hours, and then I'm like, I have to go pick up my daughter, and then I went and picked up my daughter, and then I got back.
I got up and saw you because I checked my phone, and I got up and saw you on there, and I was like, oh great, she's going to be on there. And then when I got on there, I was like, oh no, I missed her.
And then I finished and I was watching and I was in the chat, and then Davina goes, please come back on, and I was like, so I had to go back on, and I did another however many hours. That was great. That was a really crazy day. There was so many. I'm glad I met so many people on there.
Well, that's the wonderful thing, isn't it, about what's happening at the moment? Obviously, there are, we're going through this massive transition and this great awakening, but we're also coming together, like
it's amazing. I mean, we talk about past lives on this earth realm, but I'm very sure that the people I'm connecting with and hooking up with, and just like this, we're like best friends and family. It's like this reunion of a galactic nature. I don't know how else to describe it. Like there's people I know that I talk to every day now that are like, I remember sitting back and saying, God, I think I've known Mark for like millions of years. Like it just hit me. It was like, I've known him for so long, and it's just that familiarity, and a few other people like that as well. And the same with you. It's like you just recognize them. And I'm getting that with the viewers as well. The viewers are saying that too. They're like, I know you. Like I saw your video and I know you.
I know there's a lot of us from Atlantis are coming back together. So that's where you and I knew each other, Atlantis, and Save Charlie Freak, for example. They're like
I feel that with Charlie. Do you think we're fixing our karma or something like that? Do you think that that's what that is?
Well, I know we've got, because I always check whether I have anybody on the podcast, whether we have positive or negative. Like you and I had positive karma, but people can pop up in our space that we have karma that we need to clear with. I can feel it now. Like if I have say for example, if there's you can't quite. Like we couldn't quite match up our times and everything, but I could feel that there wasn't a problem. But sometimes you can feel if you kind of miss each other or it doesn't quite connect. Then
I've had that with a few podcasts, and I feel really bad. But then I guess we're not gelling. Like I just sort of think we don't. Like I miss their emails or. And it's no offense to anybody, but there has been quite a few people ask me on their shows, and I just didn't feel it wasn't the right time. I just feel that, and it just doesn't happen. But I mean collectively, the people from Atlantis, I know that something pretty evil happened in some parts of that civilization, and I'm just wondering are we coming back to clear that, to fix the earth,
we didn't for that reason, did we? In Atlantis we went under, so effectively we're kind of repeating history. So I think it's almost like I feel like I'm peeling back the layers of the skills and abilities that I had then that have got lost, and they're obviously psychic medium that you've got incredible abilities, but they're kind of, I would imagine you're finding that they're opening up more.
I feel like I've always, I don't know if they're opening up more. I mean, they were always open, but I feel I'm more in my flow,
right.
So that it's actually, it's not chopping and changing. How do I put this? I used to have to get a feeling of, oh no, now I feel like I can really focus on the psychic stuff kind of thing. Now, because I'm doing it all the time, or because I'm in the flow of what I'm meant to do, this is my mission. I'm very sure of it, that this is everything in my life has led to this point, and I'm meant to be doing this. So all of my talents, not just the psychic ability, but I've got a fine arts degree, theatre degree, I've got a theatrical background, my skills as a public speaker, my writing skills, my counseling skills, my psychic skills, all of that, everything, and even my comedic skills, like when I was studying theatre, I was doing like comedy, I was doing, sometimes I was doing almost like stand-up comedy or comedy routines and doing playwriting and all of that. It all has come together, and this is the perfect place for all of it. And I've even used some of my art in some of my videos, because the other week I did one where I just had this, I do everything instinctively. So I never plan. I don't like planning. And that allows me to keep in the flow. And I think that this is why this is working and why it's taken off. Because when I overthink things, it just doesn't work. So I had this idea just suddenly, I'm going to draw on the live video. I'm going to draw the beast under the Vatican that I remote viewed, this demon that I saw. And then what we're going to do collectively is we're going to send it love and
powerful.
And kind of obliterate it in that way. And it was very cathartic for a lot of people. And so, I did that, and I also drew Uluru as well, which is the beautiful landmark in Australia, which it's very important for this solstice. There's a sacred ceremony that they're doing on the 21st of December.
Yes, and you're still going, are you?
No, I would have been there now if that was the case. Okay. So that didn't work out. So I was invited because I had some visions of what was underneath. It was all sort of very accidental. I had visions of, I was doing a journeying, sort of like a remote view, and it led me to under Uluru, and I had no idea about anything to do with it. And it just, the things that I saw underneath were very profound, and it came to the attention of quite a few people in the Indigenous community. And I got approached by a few people. I got approached by a few elders that told me about this ceremony, and one of them in particular said, I'm inviting you, you've got to come and do the ceremony with the women there. So the female elders do ceremony and the male elders do the ceremony. And this has been prophesized for, we don't know how long, lifetimes, long time, that is something very significant is happening on the 21st of December. And they've got even the specific date, and it's the conjunction of these two planets that this is the specific date that they're doing this ceremony. Yeah, they're doing this ceremony, very sacred ceremony at Uluru, and it has to do with it. It's a long story, but anyway,
yeah.
So I'm not going there because I asked. So even though I was invited, I still wanted permission from the actual tribe that owns that land there, because it's like you're going to their house, right? You need permission. And there was such a battle there with all the different tribes, sort of like, and the elders all kind of having issues with each other. And I got a letter to them through Stephen and Evan Strong, who are going to the ceremony, and these are a father and son who have these artifacts, Atlantean artifacts actually, and Lemurian artifacts, and they're a big part of this prophecy. So they're going to actually be using these ancient things that they've got, including these crystals, which they call rocks, that are Palladian, they believe. And this is all part of the ceremony. They're going to be using that on that day. And well, it's all to do with these seven sisters, which is the Palladian thing. And I saw this, you see, I saw this in the vision. You've got to go back to my video and see it, but I didn't know anything about it. Anyway, so Stephen I got in contact with Stephen, vice versa. He said, you know, call him. I called him. We had a really long chat, and he said, write a letter and I'll get it to the elders, and then you'll get the permission and you can come. He said, I'll vouch for you. You know, I think you should be there, because he sort of tapped in and said, you're legit. You know, if you've been invited, I think you need to go. Because I also had a spirit of an elder come to me in a vision. It was very, very full on, profound. And that's what they believe in many of the Indigenous cultures, is that in the original Australians, that, you know, if spirit chooses you, you know, so that they'll come to you and give you messages. And it doesn't matter the color of your skin. So, like, you know, if they're choosing me to be part of this, then I should be part of it. Didn't turn out that way. So basically, and I'm going to do a little video to explain this to people, put it up soon. But yeah, so when we got the letter to the elders in Uluru, the men basically said, we don't want any hippies and new agers here. Because they had like a whole bunch of people all wanting to bombard that place, you know, wanting to film documentaries, and people wanting to do mass meditations there and organising groups of meditations. And they were just like, nah, we're done. No more people who are not part of the, you know, the tribes, you know, that want to do that. So that's okay. I was like, all right, that's good. I hate the heat anyway. It's really hot up there.
Well, you've got to trust, haven't you, that everything's happening.
And yeah, and also I couldn't get anyone to look after my daughter. Like, her father couldn't stay with her, and I mean, he couldn't take time off work and all of that, because I would have had to have gone for 5 days, because they don't just do one ceremony, they do several. Right. And it's a lead up, you know, and the women, I'm told, are more powerful than the men. That their ceremonies are very, very important. So they're essentially trying to redress the balance, from what I can gather. I don't know. I was told a little bit of stuff about the ceremonies, and it's I keep it private because it's sacred stuff, but they're basically trying to redress the balance for Mother Earth. You know, they're really trying to put the energy back into, after all, and that's what I picked up on, was the mining, the rape of this earth, and the complete subversion or inversion of, you know, the divine feminine is just, the divine feminine has been just destroyed. And Uluru itself represents Gaia's heart. Okay, so there's people out there saying it's the solar plexus of the earth. It's not. It's her heart. The Indigenous people say it's the heart. It looks like a heart. And I, in meditation, I connect to Gaia when I do my meditations through the heart center. And a lot of people, it's very interesting, because a lot of people who watch my videos, they seem to, this is really random. I've had hundreds of people email me and say, you're Gaia, or like, you're tapping into her. Like, they just feel that energy, the Mother Earth energy. So I must be having a strong, I think we're just vessels and we're channeling things. So those of us on a public platform, we're channels for the divine or for God. And I think that, as we all are, but I think that those of us who have that responsibility to be public, we must resonate with certain things more than others. And I just feel like Gaia speaks through me, and that's where that mother energy comes from, and that strength, and that you know, that sort of like tough love kind of stuff.
Well, I think what you said before, you know, which was about, you've been training for this all of your life. I think all of us are in training. You know, we've been in training all our lives for what is happening right now. And yes, those of us who have got a public platform are using that training for the good of humanity. But I think one thing I'd love to talk to you about, JCKay, is because I think you and I are on the same page around empowering people, you know, and about how, you know, 2021 needs to be the year of personal sovereignty. You know, this is what we're going into, this age of Aquarius. So as well as you having a mission and me having a mission, you know, I really want to empower our listeners around how they can take the bull by the horns And, because there is so much confusion and distraction and, there's huge amounts of disclosure, and it's only going to get worse with the kind of negative alien agenda that, all of this, like if I'm listening to this and I really want to kind of empower myself in 2021, let's have that conversation so we can empower our listeners. What would you recommend to people listening?
Well, the first, I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot because I say it in nearly every video I do, whether it's in a funny way or in a very serious way. I mean, the number one thing that everyone should have done by now was to turn off the mainstream media, because we are. I wrote a survival guide for lockdown, and it was a spiritual survival guide, and it was a PDF. And I think that in that explains essentially what we're talking about moving forward into 2021, which is it's really about mindfulness, and it's about where do we place our attention. And because we all have to understand that we are creator beings, and that where we place our focus.
Yes. Talking my language.
Where we place our focus, it manifests our reality. So the problem with knowing and delving into too much of that minutiae with the news, and you believe you want to be informed, or as many truthers like to truthers and people in higher consciousness community, they want to know what's going on, and they want to know they want to decipher the information that that they're getting, because they've been lied to for so many decades. I mean, we've been lied to for thousands of years, but because we're finally having the truth revealed, many people are really wrapped up in that. My problem with that, and my problem with a lot of people asking me for predictions on everything, is it takes away the empowerment that you have in yourself, and you become and we're creating this. And this is almost like what I want to say to people about this is what I tapped into about the 21st of December, if I remember now, is that we're creating because people keep talking about ascension, and then we're going into this golden age and everything's perfect after that. Well, it's our collective focus.
We're in the bronze period. There's a long way to go. 4 years of breaking down.
Yeah, we've really got to, we've got a lot of stuff to purge and clear out and all of that. And with that, I'm jumping around a lot because all these things are coming through my head. So it's our collective focus on that day and beyond that is going to create this ascension. Okay. And I don't like that word's very loaded because people assume they're going up somewhere.
Yeah, but it's just higher states of awareness. That's
just higher states. Yes. It's a different frequency. You're vibrating at a different frequency. And many of us are already here. We're already there, and we're every now and then stepping back into 3D, and we're, sort of like, it's just different frequency and what you're resonating with. But we want to maintain that moving forward, because what I see going into 2021 is there is a massive positive shift. And I feel it's around, I've said this for ages, even before I had a YouTube channel, that it was around the end of March, probably around the spring equinox, that there was a big shift for the better. And there's this beautiful period I felt between March and July where there's this coming out of this, like we're coming out of a cocoon, and we're coming out of this, and it's a really beautiful phase. So if we want to manifest that, we need to, and we want to step into a place of sovereignty. The number one thing I would say is you have to understand that you are a creator, and therefore what you focus on is what you create. And collectively, we need to manage where we are placing our focus. So the mainstream media is the first or the last thing that needs to come down, but it is the first thing you need to get rid of, because that is the machine that the deep state
keeping you locked in the matrix.
Keeping you locked in the matrix. Now, the matrix itself, just from what I'm tapping into, is it's really falling apart, and that's why things are being revealed, because we're seeing the truth. We're finally waking up out of our slumber, and we're starting to see the cracks in the stories that were told to us in the mainstream media and things like that. So I just feel that we've still got a lot of people who are really beautiful, and they are light workers, and they're really kind-hearted, and they have a really wonderful job to do, but they're still getting pulled back into this narrative that of this fear campaign that's going on. So we really need to be in next year. I feel like this love vibration. This year would have been the year where we worked on our shadow self. I'm not sure if you know, if you feel the same. I mean, this is a collective.
It's been a healing, clearing year, hasn't it? I think, while we've all been at home, we've been forced to go inwards. And obviously, that is where we should have been doing our inner child work, our shadow work, really looking like I've been clearing past life karma, I've been clearing genetic karma, whatever I can get my hands on, because I don't want a lack of self-worth anymore. I don't need anything like that. I need to come into my power so we can be a light for other people. So I'd agree with you. Definitely. It's been a healing year.
Absolutely. And, we, and I think that even if you weren't consciously working on it, you're forced to work on it. You're kind of forced to. Now, you either dwell in it or you really take it by the horns and you have a look at it and work through it with the people around you. Like, so I know a lot of people have fallen out of favor with a lot of friends and family. And this is to do with that frequency or that resonance. We're not resonating with certain people and we're resonating with other people. So I think that next year we may be coming into a phase of there's a more solid understanding of where everybody is in our life. Because this year I felt almost like completely out of touch with all of my friends and family. They've disappeared. I've said this many, many times.
This year everything just went, broke, didn't it? Literally.
Yeah. Well, I got banned from Facebook. I think I had 3 accounts get taken down. I don't know why still. Just like, people say, oh, you must be speaking the truth and that's why. Well, I don't even know what I put up for it. It just suddenly got banned. So with that went all my friends and so the contact that I had with people. But not only that, nobody in my life prior to this public platform, they don't follow me on social media. They don't know what I'm doing. And if they do, they don't approve of it because they're all
kind of different
asleep.
reality.
It's a different reality.
I have the same.
And it's very hard to, like, if you were to go to a party and say, oh, so what do you do? Well, I've got this YouTube channel and it's kind of going big and I'm kind of really well known in this truther community. So it's like, how do you explain that to people? And then, all they think is, oh, so you're one of those QAnon people. It's like, no. Anyway, so what I was trying to say about losing the friends and all of that, I feel like things are coming. There's more clarity next year. So if we've had to
do a lot of that, haven't we? Like I personally, again, like a sort of similar situation to yourself, people that I was on the same journey with, when I had another level, because I knew about this stuff when I was like 28, but not to the degree like that all the pieces of the puzzle joined, when this time, when Corona started. And I was kind of just started being very public on my Facebook page, and I got a lot of abuse from people that were in my circles.
That was practice. That was practice for now, you see. That's what I think. I think that was practice.
I think it was because a lot of humans, we like to be liked. I'm a fire energy. So it's really important to me that I get on with people, and I don't like burning bridges, and it's not who I am, But at the same time, it also holds us back, because how can you stand in your power if you're afraid of saying something wrong? So it was definitely a shedding of like the final bits of the skin, because I was like, am I going to follow my mission and what I'm really called to do, which is this, or am I going to keep myself small and not speak out because I have a fear of offending? And I was like, bugger that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got to that stage too. I was just like, you know what? I was always outspoken, but it really came to a head where, I was trying to teach people all the time. I've always, no matter what it is, whether it was a new eating plan, like I'm vegan now, everybody, hey, look what I'm doing, and or a new exercise plan that, oh wow, you guys have got to try this, or some new thing. I was always trying to teach people on my social media about things, and I was trying to educate, and I just wanted everyone to come on board. And when they weren't listening, I got really frustrated. But this year was just, I was trying to educate people and wake them up, and this is fake, guys, and nobody was listening. None of my friends wanted to know at all. I mean, there was crickets going every time I put a post up. And I had hundreds of people like in my, every time I put a post up, it was like no one was there.
Yeah.
No one.
Well, I do think people have contracts around when they're going to wake up. And obviously loads of people woke up around, the beginning of Corona, but not, I was running a transformation organization. I know everybody's very conscious and aware and working on themselves.
Yes.
Beautiful people, don't get me wrong, absolutely incredible people. And still some of them are really good friends of mine, but a lot of them, nope, couldn't see any of the stuff.
They can't. Isn't it amazing? Like I always thought, having studied the arts, and you always think that they're very progressive people. I was at university for like 6 years, and not consistently, but like, I had a break and then did some more study, and I just always thought that all of the people I went to university with that became professional in the arts industry and all of that they were very open-minded. Here was this story we were telling ourselves that anyone who was like a left-wing and into social justice and all of that stuff, you're open-minded. They're actually the most indoctrinated. I found the most difficult to convince that this to them that what's going on in the world for real, because they really, I don't know how it happened, but they really, the deep state really commandeered that compassionate side of people, the people who are into environmentalism, the people who are into
they've hijacked that, haven't they, as well?
They hijacked it completely.
Greta Thunberg, everybody thinks she's an amazing person.
Climate change and all that. I mean, I was one of those people. I mean, not with Greta Thunberg. I definitely did. I definitely knew that was not such a great thing. But
not what it seems.
Yeah, but I considered myself awake from I'd say 1998. Okay, so I knew there was this propaganda machine because my background is I'm Lebanese, right? So, and in Australia, what was happening was that the media was demonizing anyone of Middle Eastern background. In fact, they would call it a very
nanny state, haven't you, over there?
Yeah, of Middle Eastern appearance. This was the thing that was going on around 97, 98. And so I was working at the time with a lot of youth, people with lower socioeconomic backgrounds, doing theatre projects and things like that with these young kids. And they were getting targeted by the media and profiled. And so I really woke up to that and that machine and how everything we were being lied to back in 98. So by the time 2001 came and the Twin Towers got hit, my sister had just gotten on a plane to go to Lebanon to visit family. And she's in the sky. We come home and we turn on the TV and there's the Twin Towers getting hit. And as soon as it happened, and as horrified as I was like, this is a setup. I was like, straight away, I was like, this is fake. They're going to blame terrorists. They're going to blame terrorists. And I said to my mum, they're going to blame Middle Eastern people.
Once you see it, you just can't go back. Like, it's just so glaringly obvious. Yeah. Like, it just pops out and it's like, oh my God, how did I ever fall for it? But when you're in it.
Yeah. But, what I'm trying to say is like, you think you're awake and then there's more.
Yes, of course. But there's levels, isn't there?
And then there's more. Yeah.
Well, I think obviously you couldn't awaken in one go because it would just be far too much. So
you worry about the people that are going to wake up. I mean, it's pretty shocking. I've come across so many viewers who email me and say, I've just woken up in March,
Wow.
This is all new to me. And they dive in. They really dive in. They knew nothing before this. I mean, can you imagine learning all of that?
I know, in one hit. So just recapping. So basically, really be careful with your energy, where you focus your energy, where you focus your attention, because that essentially your energy is your currency. Last year, 2020, was a year of healing. It was the inner child work. It was the shadow work. I think we have to keep doing that. It's like a continual thing.
Yes.
And you think we're going to stabilize. So we're coming into 2021 now. So it's kind of like,
if you've been doing the work, I think if you've been doing the work, we can't just say everybody's suddenly going to be great, because I can feel it on my inner work. Yeah, I can feel it on my level. Like if I want to say, if everything's going to plan with yourself and you're really working on yourself, then you will follow this particular timeline, I'm sensing. However, there is still going to be people that are kind of locked into that 3D reality. They're finding it very hard to get out of their programs and to really, because, you know, as much as we would love to believe that the 21st of December is going to be suddenly a switch that everybody wakes up and goes, whoa, it's not going to be like that. So there is still stages of this. However, the collective consciousness, I think that there is going to be something quite astonishing that's going to wake people up publicly, and this will have something to do with the mainstream media. Some people are saying it's around the inauguration that something public is going to occur to shock people out of that complacency.
Okay.
That was a theory that Richard Balducci gave me. Right. He's a researcher. He's an occultologist.
I've watched your video with him.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, he's such a great guy. He keeps sending me information every day, and I'm like, I don't have time to read it all. It's just all this amazing stuff. So he
like a way of shocking people out of their slumber.
Yes, yes. So he sort of had this idea of the inauguration date, the 20th of December, 20th of January, that there may be something occur publicly, you know, to sort of make everyone go, whoa. I don't know. I don't know if, I hope that would happen, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to wake people up. But I think that what's going to happen is that there is enough of a group of people who really do, just like we witnessed the Twin Towers collapsing, that really shocked people into a different kind of consciousness. I think something is going to occur that is going to make people go into another direction where they're like, right, this isn't working anymore. We really need to create the new earth. And I think this is 2021, is the creation of this new earth. So therefore, our collective focus needs to change, which is what I was always trying to do, to encourage in not only my videos, but in my Facebook group that I created. I was trying to get people to stop focusing on the fear porn and really start to envision, what have you got? What's this new earth look like? What does it look like for you? And how are we going to collectively work on that? And what it always comes down to, you mentioned it before, was sovereignty. Because it's about we're no longer relying on big pharma for our health. Therefore, we need to take charge of our health. We don't like the fact that they had planned for us this more radiation with the 5G sort of network and things like that. So how are we going to change the way we live with technology and hooking things up? You know, so that's, you've got to sort of take your power back with that.
Well, I think also people are going to break out into kind of their own communities, because like you said, you know,
100%,
you know, even sort of friends and family that I know who are still very much in 3D, you know, they're very like and I think that's another way, isn't it, of people waking up, is that it's getting so bonkers. Like, you know, we went out for a meal last night. I went out with my family last night for a meal, and you know, this whole, I don't wear a badge. I take my badge just in case.
Yeah.
This whole wearing a mask to the table thing and then taking it off. Like, I'm sitting in a restaurant and I'm just like, this is, why do nobody see how utterly ridiculous this is? Like,
it reminds me of, you know, do you remember, I mean, I don't know what sort of school you went to, but do you remember the rules they had at school? And you're like, what do we have to do that for? It doesn't make sense.
I've never been very good with rules.
Me either. Oh gosh, me either. Like, you know, as good as I was at my work at school, as far as rules go, I was like, you know, I'm out the door. Like, they'd say, tuck your shirt in. That's the rule. Why? Why do I have to tuck my shirt? It doesn't make sense. Like, it looks neater when it's tucked out, you know. It's like a rule for the sake of having a rule. And it's so convoluted. But, yeah, did you what were we saying about you went to dinner and they...
Oh, just the fact that it's so crazy, you know, you know, that you're taking it on and off to go to the toilet, and it's like, what different, you know, like surely any sane person can see how crazy. Yeah. So I think we were talking about how, you know, there's either going to be a shock to the system, or like you said, people are going to break away into their own. Like I feel that already. I've got lots of our friends just operating, you know, normally, basically. Just
Yeah. I've seen this for the longest time, these visions of, so when this big lockdown happened in Victoria in Australia, which is a state in the southern part of Australia, and if you know anything, so the city centre there is called Melbourne, and Melbourne's a very cosmopolitan, I would equate it to very similar to London. It's got more of that sort of feel. Whereas Sydney's more like, kind of reminds you of, like, I don't know, a city in California or something like that. Okay. So Melbourne had a really severe lockdown, very, very severe, strict. These people were suffering badly. And I just every time I tried to tap in, this is just before I started the YouTube channel with because that was the reason why I started the YouTube channel, because I was trying to look at what's causing this lockdown, what's going on underground. People were talking about all this stuff. And I kept seeing this mass exodus of people leaving. And it was symbolic, because obviously people aren't just going to suddenly walk out of the state. But it was this mass exodus of people leaving and moving north and starting little communities. And the way the communities existed, the way I saw them, was a lot like how Michael Tellinger talks about the Ubuntu project, and this sort of sustainable living, but also just this cooperative structure and working towards that. And if you know anything about Nasara, it kind of you could that the whole, if we want to go into that political, legal sort of understanding of Nasara, it kind of can lead into communities being created like that, because if your financial security is taken care of and everybody's and there's a fair access to medical things, there's rent and all of that sort of stuff is more affordable, all of those things that Nasara talks about, and this common law practices, when you talk about that, then it's quite obvious that these communities can exist. But then I saw, on the other hand, was that there was some people who were deliberately choosing not to live like that, and they were still stuck in that 3D kind of way of living. So here's this interesting thing where I felt these energies split way back. I'm like, so this fits in with that whole prophecy around the ascension. The Indigenous people believe that on the 21st of December, the world will split.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So, and that there's some people will have, we're living on one earth, and then some will live on the other. So you have that 3D, 5D thing going on. That's essentially what they're describing in the prophecy. It's to do with, and I picked up on this, which is kind of interesting. I'm sorry to jump around, but I just wanted to explain that I tapped into this thing underneath Uluru, and I felt that there was this binaural beat that rang out. And when I said that to this this man, Stephen Strong, who knew about the prophecy, he said, yes, that is what they say. You've tapped into the right thing. He said, but it's a binaural beat that it's two frequencies. So some people resonate with one frequency, this 3D thing, and some people will go and ascend and they'll resonate with this higher frequency. So if we're looking at moving into and empowering people, moving into the future, if you want to have that better life, and you want to, and this is where I keep trying to get, like, these thousands of people that follow me, I'm like, snap out of it, guys. Like, stop focusing on the negative, stop focusing on the fear porn. You've got to shift your focus over to this love vibration, this higher energy and this higher consciousness. And, that doesn't mean you don't get frustrated and you don't get angry or you don't get this or that. It's more about, where do you put the bulk of your focus?
Because you can put your energy and attention into all of the disclosure, everything that's happening right now, every single YouTube video, or you can put your energy and attention into creating the life that you desire and that you deserve. And that's what we do in the Dharma Life Academy, is we help people set a vision. We're a powerful human creator. If you have got a vision for your life, it sets a marker in the sand, and it gives your energy and attention something to focus on, and your higher self something to focus on. And then it's amazing what happens when people get clear about what they want. Everybody thinks they have to know how it's going to happen, and it's not like that. You need to know what you want, not how it's going to happen.
Isn't that amazing? Like, I just think that is such a key thing. Like, all my life I struggled to balance this art, like being an artist and trying to earn a living, right? And it was always like my heart wants to be a creative being, and I just want to I just want to be free, and I just want to be able to create and make these beautiful things and get people to buy them and just live like that. And then I would always have to have a day job because it just wasn't working, because I was thinking, how do I make this thing make money? I need to know how to get to there, right? And that's not how it works. Once I let go of all of that and I went, just let go of all those obligations. Don't even worry about how I get there. All I know is I've got to speak my truth, and I'm in the here and now. Yeah, follow my heart. I'm in the here and now. My heart at that time, just before I started this channel, was just speak your truth. Just do it. Just put it out there. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about what's going to happen. And not at any stage, I still don't know where I'm headed. I'm just flowing. And it's such an amazing thing. There's such a fundamental thing I want everyone to understand, because every day I get hundreds of emails saying, when is this happening? Can you tell me when is this going to happen? I just need to know, how is that going to work out? Or if I make a prediction, they'll say, oh, but that doesn't make sense, because then this is going to happen. And what if we're being lied to? And they're worrying about all these little details,
all the micro details.
And what I'm trying to say is, in the core of your heart, do you trust and believe? And if you really, really look in there, do you really think we're all dead? Do you really think this is it? We would be all dead by now if they were in charge, and it's not happening. I can see it. I can see it so clearly, these communities. I can see this new way of living. I'm not saying it's perfect and heaven on earth, but I can definitely see a much better way of operating the world.
Well, I think when you develop this spiritual connection, you are guided, and you don't worry. Like, having a vision for your 5D life, I think, is really, really important. Understanding how you're going to get there is not. Then it's just trusting that internal voice, and it's trusting the information you get on a daily basis, and listening to your heart, listening to your inner sat nav, and literally taking a step day by day in the right direction, and then course correcting when you get off this, I always call it my Dharma path. So I think there's a lot of potential, really, for people to take their power back and start to really build the life that they deserve, that we've kind of has been robbed from us, because we've been on this hamster wheel of trying to survive. Like you're an artist, and it was probably drummed into you that you couldn't make a living out of your art. You're battling with that subconscious programming as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But also I want to talk about is we've had our hands held for so long in the education system, and all the rules that are out there. Even they just tell us every step of the way what to do, and nobody knows how to do anything for themselves anymore. That self-motivation and that self-empowerment. It's really like, even I always go on about it, but it just makes me laugh. I get people emailing me on how to navigate like a YouTube platform, like this, like I'm an IT help desk,
I feel you.
And I just go, would you Google it? Like, what are you doing? You're emailing me, and I've got thousands. What are you doing? Like, I don't understand how. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It's like they have to ask, not think. Or like,
yes, and it's every step of the way. It's fed to you. Like, I need the answer now. If you could just tell me this answer, I would feel better. Or if you could just tell me how to do this thing, I would feel better. I get really, ever since I was a kid, I just always, I think most of the stuff I know, I taught myself, because I was bored with school. I was a straight A student. I was like so boring. I was like, I already know this stuff. And I'd go to the library and I'd research and I'd teach myself how to do things. And I think that's lacking. And I think that's moving forward. That's a really important thing in self-empowerment is we really need to take charge of where we are going. And what's the first steps of that? Research is a big, big part of this. How do you research and how do you find information? It's a really big part of moving into sovereignty. I think that
developing your own inner sense of self, like we were saying before we came on about trust. Like I can't watch certain people or videos. It's because my inner self goes, that's not right, you know. So it's developing this discernment internally that we then don't have to look outside of ourselves for answers, that we can come into ourselves and we know what is our truth.
Absolutely. And you just have that gut instinct. So this is what we're really doing, Aloise, is we're peeling off the layers of control and programming, and we're coming back to the real self. And the real self is a very intuitive being. It's a very powerful creator, and it's our natural state to be intuitive. So when somebody says to me, "Oh wow, you've got the gift of being psychic," well, actually, I have to say to you, it's a natural state of being for all human beings to be like that. It's just that we were programmed, we were harvested, we were dominated and shut down by everything. And then think about how there's still these amazing human beings out there that show these amazing talents with all of this crap going on. Just think about that, like how amazing we are, that we are bombarded daily by radiation and these pulses that come out of this equipment. The food that we have is just
water.
I mean, our water, everything, the plastic, even just plastic is on everything. The plastic we're absorbing, the noise frequency, the noises that are out there. I mean, I think about my daughter. My daughter has autism, and I just think, gosh, you know, she's just such a sensitive being. And these children with autism, it's generations of trauma, and it's birth trauma, and it's just this tipping point, and their nervous system, their central nervous system, is so heightened, and this world is too much for them. But think about it, there's still, you know, we're still these amazing, incredible human beings, and we've got to clear all of that. We've got to fix all of that. It's a pretty amazing job, and I don't think we should be overwhelmed by the task. I just think we need to just understand that this is where we're headed and enjoy the ride. Enjoy it as we're going along.
Yeah, and I think that is a wonderful point to end on, really, because, you know, don't take it all too seriously. Enjoy yourself. This is an incredible period of time to be alive. Like you said, we're peeling back layers, we're discovering abilities and empowering ourselves like never before. We're coming into our own. You know, I also like to say to people, you know, if you've got a problem, look at it as a signpost or a signal that you just have to change something or level it. Don't label it like a negative thing. Actually, it's a catalyst. This is a catalyst for your change, for your growth, for you to become the person that you've always meant to be.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing, I mean, my biggest tenet is know thyself. This is the biggest thing you can ever do. If there's one thing you ever do in your life, it is you must know who you are. And that is in everything that you do. Try and find out more about yourself, and the world will open up.
I could talk to you all day. We did. We talked quite a lot, didn't we, before we came on? We were like, we better start this podcast, because otherwise we'll just be here chatting all day. But thank you so much, JC. It's just been a pleasure to talk to you, as I knew it would be.
Yeah, we're going to talk again. We'll stay in touch. We'll just keep talking.
Yeah, let's go with the flow, see what happens. But yeah, absolutely. Yes. I'd love to talk again. And I'd love for people listening to let us know what they got and what they took away from this conversation, and realization, or what they're going to, you know, implement into their lives. And obviously people can find you at Quantum Truths
JCKay on YouTube. Quantum Truths JCKay. I think I've also got a Patreon. So you can look up Quantum Truths JCKay. On Facebook, I have a group still, and I've got something like 15,000 people in that group. It's a pretty amazing group.
Fantastic.
But I've got like and that, you know, when I start, you can find out my story. I'm sure you can find out my story on my channel, but it happened in like,
I remember a video went viral, didn't it? And then
my video went viral, and then within a month I was like full on. But it's only been 3 months now since I started, and Quantum Truths JCKay Facebook group. I've got 5 moderators there or admins looking after it, but I've been banned off Facebook. But the group's still going, and it's all there. I'll give you the links and stuff like that for people to find me. And I hope I resonate with people, because I am pretty I'm really mellow here, but I can be a bit
I think we're both warrioresses when we need to be.
Yes,
but at the same time, and here's to an amazing 2021. Like,
I know, I'm excited.
I feel like we've done a lot.
I just want the borders to open. I want to go on a holiday. I need a holiday.
I have to say that is the thing I don't like about the traveling thing. But I'm sure it's all coming. But no, thank you so much.
It'll clear up.
Really appreciate you coming on.
Love it.
And,
thank you so much.
I will definitely see you again. We'll do another thing together. That'd be amazing. Thank you so much for listening to the Dharma Life podcast. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please come over and say hello on my Instagram, our Facebook group, and also please let me know what you thought. So if you are listening, please take a screenshot of the podcast that you are listening to. Tag me on Instagram and I will reshare your post, and please let me know what it is that you got out of today's episode. Remember, when we do our Dharma, we are happier, healthier, we live longer, and we have a deep sense of unshakable inner peace.